Not long ago, in the not-so-distant past, Germany stood as a symbol of compassion and open arms. Germany was widely regarded as the world's humanitarian beacon, a nation that embraced those seeking refuge and a better life. It was a time of hope and optimism. It's 𝐒𝐞𝐞𝐬 𝐍𝐞𝐿, we can do this, a powerful message of resilience and capability, echoing across continents and inspiring countless individuals. It was a statement of intent, a promise to overcome challenges. Today, June 26, 2025, a mere decade later, the landscape has drastically changed. The atmosphere is palpably different. The mood has shifted, becoming more cautious and guarded. The welcoming spirit has been tempered by new realities. The open-armed welcome is gone, replaced by a more measured and controlled approach to immigration. Replaced by stricter borders, more stringent regulations, and a mountain of new paperwork designed to manage the flow of people. Germany isn't necessarily targeting immigrants as individuals, but the idea of uncontrolled migration itself. The sheer scale of movement that once seemed manageable now presents significant challenges. The new government, now under the leadership of Chancellor Friedrich Merz, a figure representing a shift in political ideology, is rapidly dismantling the policies of the past decade, reversing course on many of the initiatives that define Germany's humanitarian efforts. Sweeping changes now dictate who can enter the country, under what conditions, and based on what criteria. How long they stay within German borders, with limitations and restrictions now tightly enforced, and what rights they have, impacting access to social services, employment opportunities, and legal protections. Some hail this as a necessary correction, a return to pragmatism and a safeguarding of national interests. Others call it a betrayal of Germany's values, a departure from its commitment to human rights and international solidarity. The debate in Berlin is fierce, a clash of ideologies and a struggle for the soul of the nation. Security, national security concerns are at the forefront of the discussion. Economy, the economic impact of immigration policies is being closely scrutinized, and identity are all on the table, as Germany grapples with defining its place in a rapidly changing world. Germany's approach has always set the tone for Europe, influencing policy decisions and shaping the broader narrative on migration. As it tightens its borders, the ripple effects are already being felt across the EU, with other nations reassessing their own immigration strategies. The era of "we can do this" is over, replaced by a new era of caution and control. Now it's "there must be order," a reflection of the shifting priorities and the challenges of managing complex migration flows. The world is watching with keen interest and a degree of apprehension as Germany redefines its social contract, navigating the delicate balance between humanitarian values and national interests. The Merz government's new immigration playbook is all about restriction. Family reunification for migrants with subsidiary protection is suspended for 2 years, affecting hundreds of thousands, mostly Syrians. The fast track to citizenship is gone. Now it takes at least 5 years with tougher language and integration requirements. At the borders, police presence is up, and asylum seekers face stricter checks and more pushbacks. Benefits for refugees facing deportation are being cut, tying social support directly to compliance with deportation orders. Security measures now include bans on knives at public events and expanded facial recognition. The message citizenship and support must be earned, not assumed. Germany is drawing a sharp line between welcome and warning. The state's posture has hardened. Order and security now come first. Germany's pivot on immigration. It's a significant shift, a recalibration of policies that have been in place for years. This isn't a sudden decision, but rather the culmination of various factors that have been building up over time, is a response to years of mounting pressure. The weight of this pressure has become increasingly difficult to ignore, influencing political discourse and shaping public sentiment. Overcrowded schools, struggling to provide adequate resources and attention to every student. The strain on the education system is palpable, a housing crunch making it difficult for people to find affordable places to live, especially in major cities. This shortage has driven up prices and created a sense of insecurity for many, and stretched public services struggling to meet the demands of a growing population. From healthcare to social welfare, the system is feeling the strain, have pushed many communities to the brink. Local resources are dwindling, and tensions are rising as residents grapple with the consequences. The Solingen terrorist attack by a refugee slated for deportation, a horrific event that shook the nation and amplified existing fears, gave the government the political capital to act. It provided a catalyst for change, allowing them to push through measures that might have previously faced greater resistance. Chancellor Merz argues the state's first duty is to protect its citizens. This principle has become a central justification for the new stricter immigration policies. The rise of the far-right AfD capitalizing on anti-immigrant sentiment and gaining significant political ground, their growing influence has forced other parties to take notice, has forced mainstream parties to reclaim lost voters by toughening their stance. They are attempting to win back support by addressing concerns about immigration and security. Public opinion has shifted, a noticeable change in attitudes towards immigration and asylum seekers. Initial enthusiasm for open borders has faded, replaced by a more cautious and pragmatic approach, replaced by calls for control and order. Citizens are demanding greater oversight and stricter enforcement of immigration laws. The new policies are both a reflection of and a response to these anxieties. They represent an attempt to address the concerns of the public and regain control over the situation. Germany is recalibrating, adjusting its approach to immigration in light of recent events and changing circumstances. Seeking to balance humanitarian ideals with practical limits, the government is trying to find a way to uphold its values while also addressing the challenges posed by large-scale immigration. The government is betting that stricter rules will restore public confidence. They hope that these measures will reassure citizens and regain their trust. The nation's mood is more cautious, marked by a sense of uncertainty and a desire for stability. Demanding, holding the government accountable and expecting concrete solutions, and insistent on order. The desire for a well-functioning society is paramount. While Germany tightens its borders, implementing stricter controls and reinforcing its boundaries, a different narrative is unfolding simultaneously. It's also rolling out the red carpet, but only for a very specific kind of immigrant. Germany is actively seeking individuals with particular skill sets and qualifications. Facing an aging population, a shrinking workforce, and critical labor shortages across key sectors, the government has passed the Skilled Immigration Act, a landmark piece of legislation designed to attract talent from around the globe. The law significantly lowers the minimum salary thresholds required to qualify for the EU Blue Card, making it easier for skilled professionals to gain legal residency and employment. Furthermore, it introduces the Chancen Card, or Opportunity Card, a points-based system designed to attract individuals with the potential to fill critical skills gaps. This innovative program allows qualified workers to come to Germany for a year, giving them ample time to actively search for employment and integrate into the workforce. The message from the German government is clear. Highly skilled workers are not only welcome, but actively sought after and encouraged to contribute to the German economy. However, asylum seekers, facing different legal pathways and requirements, must navigate a separate and often more challenging process. This dual-track approach is a calculated effort to address the concerns and anxieties of voters, all while simultaneously meeting the urgent and pressing demands of German industry for qualified personnel. In effect, Germany now sorts newcomers into two distinct groups, each subject to different rules and expectations, those perceived as immediate economic assets, and those viewed primarily through the lens of humanitarian burdens. As a result, a highly skilled software developer from India, for example, may find their application fast-tracked and expedited, while a Syrian refugee fleeing conflict and seeking safety may face a significantly longer wait, potentially up to 2 years, for the possibility of family reunification. The policy, while undeniably pragmatic in its economic focus, inevitably risks appearing cold, calculating, and overly selective in its approach to immigration. Germany's doors are indeed open, but those doors are primarily open to individuals who demonstrably fit its specific and evolving economic needs. The fundamental challenge lies in striking a delicate balance between the undeniable economic necessities of a thriving nation and its enduring humanitarian responsibilities in an increasingly complex world. In Germany, bureaucracy is king, and immigration reform means a tidal wave of new paperwork. The 𝐒𝐞𝐞 uses a points system, turning migration into a game of bureaucratic bingo. Skilled workers get sleek online portals. Asylum seekers face dense forms and endless queues. The digital red carpet for the skilled contrasts sharply with the analog obstacle course for others. Germany's faith in rules and forms is its way of imposing order on chaos. The intention is fairness, but the reality is often frustrating and dehumanizing. The new immigration system is as much about paperwork as policy. In Germany, every problem has a form. Sometimes that's the problem. As the government tightens immigration, the streets erupt in protest. In Munich, over 200,000 people rally against the far-right AfD and the new policies. Protesters span all ages and backgrounds, united in defense of tolerance and diversity. Slogans like "racism is not an alternative" rebuke both the AfD and the mainstream's hard turn. The Merz government faces a dilemma: reassure anxious voters without alienating the pro-immigrant majority. These protests are a battle for Germany's identity, not just its policies. The debate is fierce, public, and deeply personal. Germany's future is being contested in the streets as much as in parliament. Chancellor Merz's new policies are a high-stakes gamble to outflank the far-right AfD. By forming a coalition with the SPD, Merz presents tough immigration rules as pragmatic consensus. The strategy: steal the AfD's thunder by adopting their most popular issue. But this risks legitimizing far-right rhetoric and shifting the political spectrum rightward. The SPD's compromises have caused internal strife, with some accusing the party of abandoning its principles. Every policy is a tightrope walk between conservative demands and social democratic values. The coalition's success or failure will shape Germany's political landscape for years. The stakes, not just immigration but the soul of German democracy. Behind every policy are real lives thrown into uncertainty. A Syrian mechanic working and paying taxes now faces 2 more years separated from his family. An IT professional from abroad, welcomed by the new Skilled Immigration Act, sees hope and opportunity. A Bavarian teacher, integrating children from diverse backgrounds, feels torn between practical limits and humanitarian ideals. A young activist, inspired by the 2015 refugee response, now sees the new course as a betrayal. These stories reveal the human cost and complexity of policy shifts. Immigration is never just about numbers. It's about hopes, futures, and belonging. The separated father, the hopeful professional, the conflicted teacher, the passionate activist, they are the true face of this debate. Policy debates echo in classrooms, homes, and public squares. The stakes are personal, not just political. Germany's grand experiment, welcoming skilled workers while shutting out others, is a risky balancing act. The dual message may confuse and alienate both groups, risking resentment and legal challenges. Germany's reputation as an open, tolerant democracy is at stake. The new policies could tarnish its image, making it seem self-interested rather than principled. Domestically, the government hopes to stem the rise of the far right by addressing voters' concerns, but if the strategy fails, it could embolden extremists and deepen divisions. Germany is redefining itself, caught between economic needs, security fears, and historical obligations. The policies of 2025 are just another phase in a long journey. The world is watching. Germany's choices will echo across Europe. The questions Germany faces today are the questions many nations will confront tomorrow.